Welcome, everybody. Josh, the RV Nerd, here at Bish's RV in Coldwater, Michigan today. Good morning to you. Well, morning at the time that I'm recording this. I don't know when you're watching it. Maybe you're sitting on the toilet at work getting paid to poop. I'm not even sure. What do we got today, though? This is the 199 J Feather, and this is what I call 10 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound sack. You've got double over double bunks, a front quarter Murphy bed, and then a U-dinette in the slide. That if you start folding all that down into sleeper mode, in this little camper, you could fit, I don't know, potentially 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people, depending on how you pack them, rack them, and stack them in there, before you necessarily need to start putting sleeping bags on the floor. So if you're the kind of family that sometimes you have some tents outside, but it rains tonight, if you really have to, you could make it through the night packing everybody into this thing. It's also under 6,000 pounds maximum loaded weight. I think 5,750 actually is about the maximum weight of this, which means, if you move your family around in a big tow package SUV, you don't necessarily need to give up your daily driver. Or if you move it around with like maybe a tow package mid-size pickup, although as we all know, the Ford freaking Ranger was engineered with unlimited payload and towing capacity. That's a joke, obviously. We've got Goodyear Wrangler tires on this, so truck tires, an enclosed belly, 55 gallons of fresh water, and 30/30 on your black and gray. Some really awesome qualities. It also has a flip-up cargo bunk in the back section there, so if you want to be able to really pack up a lot of kids' cargo, like or you know, your own e-bikes or something. I've seen people who are just couples or solo campers take this RV home because it gave them a place to put like a big expensive bike out of the weather and out away from other people. Now, it's got a couple weird hiccups and hang-ups. There's some things with the kitchen people may not like, some things with the bunks people may not like. I'm going to try to give you the good with the bad so you can make your best, most educated decision possible. And if you appreciate how we do that for you, hit that subscribe button. Let's get inside there. Now, as we go through this, the general message of this, again, is 10 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound sack. But as a result, they did have to get a little, we'll say, creative at times in how they pack and stack and mash everything together. And sometimes some hard decisions had to be made. Like this entertainment center, there's really just not a better place in the RV to mount a TV. There's not enough room. So from the dinette, or if you take the table out, you could sort of use it as a lounge. This is actually the best seat in the house for entertainment purposes, but that's kind of the thing. This is a smaller family camper. I feel like the goal of this floor plan is not to have the whole family sitting around like a movie theater. I think this floor plan's goal is to give us all of the sleeping space and every feature they can in as little weight and size as possible. So as a result, the entertainment center is a little goofy because I'm not stupid. The fact is, like, unless you're laying on the sofa with your feet toward the TV and your head up toward it, you're really not getting a good look at the entertainment center on this one. But I think, again, that's kind of a rainy day emergency thing. Now, if I can get my fat butt out of this dinette, I gotta just quit eating, period, I swear. I wouldn't normally say this. I almost feel like they could scale back the lights in this thing. There's not a dark nook or cranny anywhere in this RV. But what is cool is if you're going to be off grid a little bit and you want to kind of conserve power, you can still control each of those lights individually. Now, J Feather Micros are not the lightest weight single axle camper out there. Like, a lot of people like to compare these to a Geo Pro, but there's some very significant differences. This is a 6-inch wider body and a 5-inch taller sidewall. The Geo Pro has that vaulted ceiling and it's 6'6" at the very peak of the ceiling. This is 6.5 all the way around, which means bigger slides, more storage, taller shower, which is something I like. I don't know if you noticed, but I think this is a really important feature to point out. The big XL vent fan that they include here, kind of like in the kitchen and living area. The bathroom has its own vent fan. It is the smaller variety. They put the biggest fan in the biggest room, essentially, is what they're doing here. You may have noticed in the kitchen, we're looking at the farmhouse decor today. If that white with the kind of distressed accents isn't really your thing, there is a second decor called Vintage, which is going to be like a more sandy-ish kind of gray tone, you know, like a beige pewter. You've got household and USB outlets over there. No USB-Cs at this time, I've noticed. Now, these used to have those pull-down pleated shades, but you see that fancy pants drop knob right there. I guess it's called a pole, shade pole, or something like that. I don't know. I like to call it a drop knob. Some people calls it a sickle. I calls it a sling blade. They've upgraded to blackout roller shades, which is nice. Now, it is a tiny step-up slide, but it is still carpetless. So it's not, I don't think it's any major big toe stubber like a lot of single axle campers have. Very pet friendly too. Other than the carpet square I'm using to clean my feet, there's really no, venting in the floor of this. Those extra USB plugs over there beside the dinette, you might want to get some extended, kind of cables or something. Or I wonder, has anybody ever like done a little DIY charge station? Ooh, I've looked at this RV so many times, I've never considered this. That little dead space no man's land between the dinette and the bathroom wall, that would be perfect for a trash can. Now, you're going to want to get it out of the way when you close the slide, or else it's going to be like, move, can, get out the way. But hey, neither here nor there. Now, we are outfitted with the 200-watt solar package today. That does include, when you get that, a 30-amp charge controller. It is a PWM variety. For those who are not aware, there's PWM, there's MPPT, and just to kind of boil it down, the MPPTs will basically capture a little more charge as compared to PWMs. But the fact is, with that 30-amp controller, if you wanted to expand your solar, you still have the ability to do that, provided you can find some space up on the roof here. We're going to open the kitchen up in more detail in a minute. This is kind of interesting to me. They left the space for a gas oven, but unless something has changed, and sometimes they do and I don't catch it. So if I'm wrong, somebody correct me. There's not an oven in here, but you can get a convection microwave like you see up there, which can still do a little bit of baking in case you want your cookies and biscuits. Now, we're looking at the 12-volt DC compressor fridge today. You can also swap to a gas electric two-way. So if you're looking for a little bit more boondocking energy efficiency, you have the ability to do that there. And real quick, I want to kind of pose a thought to you on this one. We're showing the bed in Murphy mode right now. You're going to see the bed down in just a minute. If you don't want to deal with the Murphy bed, because, we've already established the entertainment viewing angle on this one from the Murphy sofa is not terrific. This is here in case it's a rainy day or late at night and you want to really get everybody inside the RV. But this is kind of what your look is here. If you get to your site and you don't want to use it as a Murphy bed, nothing says you have to, so kind of keep that in mind right there. Got the Barley Poppinator 9000 with the Jaybird emblazoned upon it. Up top there, way up high away from the kids' fingers, you've got the new controller for your on-demand water heater. And I need your input on this. Is it better to put these by the control center? Is it better to put them by the kitchen, which in this case they've done both? Or is it better to put that in the bathroom where you're showering? I never really know the best solution for that. Now, if I had one thing, if I could change one thing on this RV, I would actually be willing to move or sacrifice or change that rear window to gain a cargo loading door on the back of this one. Of course with a deadbolt, so I don't got to worry about a gas station murder hobo stealing my kids in the middle of the night. But that would be my one thing. If you could change one thing on this RV, what would it be? And again, now, a given, I think someone's going to say a lower price tag, but I think that's fair. The bunks both do have windows, and if you look real close, I've kind of got that shade pulled over it. That is a center little beam in there, so that is a venting window. Sorry for sticking my hand directly in front of the camera like that. I just wanted to point that out. Now, this is kind of cool. Both of the bunks have plenty of outlets, and the little phone charge pocket, the tablet pocket up there, once again, rainy day survival situation. But where this one starts to get really cool is when we get a little bit deeper into the details. Like the fact that both bunks have their own individual curtain, and look at this built-in fold-out ladder to get the kids to the upper bunk on this. Not to mention, of course, we got that cargo bunk system on the bottom there. Jayco double bunks like this, by the way, each rated for 600 pounds. Now, one quick note I want to give you while we're looking through all the kitchen stuff on this is this RV has a little over 1,000 pounds of cargo carrying capacity from the factory. You're going to have to kind of keep that in mind and budget that. Now, I did have to flip over to wide angle lens mode to kind of show you through the Murphy bed here. This is a pretty simple and easy Murphy bed system, but it is a bendy bed folding mattress. If you kind of notice, I'm a little over 6 foot. I just
fit on that thing. I think I could make it work for a weekend. The 7.5-foot wide body of this, though, does allow them a little bit of extra room, like some headboard pocket space in there. There's big cabinet space above and a couple dresser drawers down below the sofa. There are also, you may have noticed, by the way, that I had a little bit of a headroom clearance issue in there. It wasn't actually too bad. Like, if I got scared and I flipped up in the middle of the night, first of all, I'd probably pull an abdomen muscle doing that. I've also learned that I'm getting old enough that the other day, I think I literally pulled a stomach muscle while sleeping. So I don't know what I was dreaming about, but for 3 days, I had a pulled muscle in my stomach, which, like, when you're laying down and going from like a prone position to to sitting up, oh, that was just unsavory. I'll just say it that way. Did you notice, by the way, that all the windows open for airflow? That is a really, really handy, nice feature there, especially when, like, you don't always necessarily want to just run the air conditioner. If you want to kick that sucker on, you can get like a 5-mile-an-hour breeze rolling through the RV the entire time. Now, I do not have the fridge on currently, and when we step outside, you will see how kind of like dreary and overcast it is, yet running all the lights, screaming all the lights. I've actually slowly been gaining juice here. Not fantastically. My battery was low. It's kind of telling me my battery's low, but it is actually slowly recovering even right now. Let's look at the space around the toilet. The 7.5-foot body, the extra 6 inches they were able to dedicate to this bathroom, for me, it made all the difference. I have just enough elbow room on the right-hand side to utilize the butt napkins. The butt napkin roller dispenser there is in a good spot. I also like that they gave us, first of all, we have a full sink in the bathroom, so we don't have to wash our bathroom hands in here, but enough counter space to actually have, like your toothbrush organizers and all that kind of stuff in here. Lipitorage storage cabinet over there. Full window in the bathroom so you can share the freshness with the neighbors. And with this being 6.5 foot tall, I do have to put my head in the skylight. But again, the thing to compare and consider here is when you are in this size of single axle camper, very, very few of them have a shower you can stand in. Some of them lack a skylight entirely. So that's potentially a make or break thing, like a make the trip or break your neck kind of thing here. Now, going down the road, one of the big questions you might have is, what can I do with this one in road mode? And the news is pretty much anything. So obviously that slide's suddenly in her face, but what I wanted to show you is with the slide closed, you can still use the bed on this one. And that's another thing to consider. Remember, if you don't care for it, you don't like the Murphy function on this RV, you never have to use it. You could leave it down. You could, replace the mattress if you wanted to with a non-folding one. Nothing says you have to use it as a Murphy model. Now, this is one of those areas where, once again, I wish I had that rear cargo door myself, because you are completely unobstructed up the belly of this beast. And if it had that cargo door, I think you could actually even fit a 2-seat kayak up inside this sucker, or maybe a couple if you stacked them, and then obviously wrapped them in a blanket so you don't dig up all of your cabinetry. But our kitchen is obviously readily accessible. Our, all of the dinette, or not dinette, I'm sorry, we just passed the dinette. The bunks are accessible, and as you can see, you can open and close the bathroom door, because as we all know, yes, kids, all right, kids, we're getting ready to pass a stop. You need to potty, and they're like, no. And then you pass the stop, they're like, I got to go to the bathroom. And you're just like,
all right, so taking a second look at the weights and the measures here, giving you the, the towing kind of information. This is something that certainly I think a tow package half ton's going to yank all over. But once again, I don't know that you necessarily need that size vehicle for this size camper. A properly equipped larger class SUV, potentially a mid-size pickup. I need to double check the payload ratings that are out there in mid-size pickups before I kind of commit to that. But there's some different opportunities out there. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit, because this RV, one of the things about it, the spec chart on this thing is a little bit wonky, because the body of the RV is 7.5 foot wide. You see how it dwarfs that bushwhacker right there? That is 7 foot wide. This is 7.5 foot wide. Because the goal with this RV is, they said, how many full 8-foot wide camper features can we mash into a smaller, lighter, narrow body? And overall, I think they did pretty good. They also did pretty good with their tank capacities. Your fresh gray and black for an RV of this size, I think, are very respectable. I also like the fact that they did the double propane tanks up front, spending a little bit more time between swap outs and exchanges. But I would like your input on something here. What do you think about these like brush guard Nerf bar things? Because the thing is, they're not rated to like really be stepped on. They're not rated to really strap cargo to. They're mostly sort of kind of just cosmetic. And this is not an RV that I think it's not made for, rock crawling through the Badlands or anything like that. It's a family camper. Maybe you want to get off a paved road a little bit, but nothing extreme, So let me know what you think about those things, because, they have a cost associated with them. They add some weight to the RV. I will share my 2 cents first. I could do without them. Personally, I could do without them, but it wouldn't be a bad place to be able to tie down Uncle Gary after he's tied one on, or tie me wallaby noun sport. Anybody remember that song? Like, I used to listen to my grandparents' vinyl records, so I think sometimes my points of reference are a little bit more dated, kind of like my hairline. Heyo! Anyway. Oh, male pattern baldness jokes. Well, I bet you didn't expect to get that today. Neither here nor there. You saw that simple little side mount solar prep plug. You're going to see some solar on the roof of this. Notice how all the windows open for airflow. All the windows are tinted. Now, in a smaller single axle camper class like this, slide side windows, those are about as rare as hen's teeth and frog's hair combined. So that's a nice find, and they add a little bit of cost to the RV. This is not the least expensive single axle. I like the magnet holdbacks, but one of the other neat things here is this baggage door just existing, because it gives you easier access to the rear dinette bench storage, which I think is very cool. You also have a key-alike system, so all of your baggage doors, your deadbolt, your main door, all that stuff is going to operate off one key. The pass-through compartment on this actually I think is very respectable for a little camper of this size. They got the battery disconnect out of the way, but easy to reach. And this little wiring guide is telling you how to basically utilize the inverter prep for this RV. J-Feathers are outfitted with a very basic level of prep for an inverter. Although keep in mind, if you do add and use an inverter for the few plugs that are prepped for it, it will deplete the battery more quickly. And this little set of household outlets out here, like when my daughter was younger, we always had like a bubble machine on the campsite, leaving a sticky, soapy mess that I had to clean up later, but we had so much fun with that thing. Let's talk some construction points here real quick. This has a wood-decked, wood truss, snow-load walk-on roof that I'm going to climb on top of a little bit later. Your walls are double Asdel, meaning Asdel on the inside and outside layer. Some brands use none, some brands use one layer. They're using Asdel on the inside and outside. It was actually the first time we really saw Jayco do anything like that. The floor is also laminated in your Feather series. You go up to a plywood floor in the White Hawk series. You actually gain a lot of weight as a result. Now, let's take a look over here. You've got a couple things going on. This is prepped and ready for a full observation camera suite with a little bit of gunk on that lens right there. But you can have side view, like turn signal cameras, and you can also have a rear view camera going on. You can also use those for like campsite observation if you bring your monitor with you. You see how the underbelly here is enclosed? It is not specifically forced air heated. That's a clarity I want to bring. I've seen a lot of people, different dealerships advertising heated belly. Well, no, it's not. You can get holding tank heaters on these, but that is not the same as like a forced air heated belly. And that's the kind of extra information and clarity that I want to give you. I want you to know exactly what you're getting for your money. I'm not going to try to use tricky language to trick you into buying one. We want to earn your business. Get your second camera the first time. By the way, your turn signals will also ignite all of the like side and rear clearance lights in addition to just the tail lights, so that you can see or other people rather can see that you're intending to change lanes, which is a cool thing. Little campers don't have big awnings, but they did the best they could here. It is power. It does have the LED lighting all along the base. You got the speakers up high, which your neighbors are going to love because they're going to be able to hear your music way before you, which is awful nice of you. Very, very kind. And this little thing right here. So this is a mount that could be used for a TV, or I would say like a flagpole holder, but being buried dead in the middle of the wall of the RV, I do think that's probably going to be TV only. Now, I want to talk about the size of this, because I mentioned it's a 7.5 foot wide body, but if you read Jayco's website, it says it's 8.5 foot wide, because the wheels stick out further than the body. That, however, is actually providing some awesome stability in towing. Think about this. If you're trying to not get knocked down, if like you're playing football or sumo wrestling in the backyard after a barbecue or something, I know how we all do that as Americans, you know, we love our sumo wrestling, but if you are, you know, trying not to get knocked over, you don't stand with your feet perfectly close together, you stand with your feet spread apart. Well, with the axles spread further, well, axle being wider than the body of this RV, it provides some awesome organic stability for you. Got Dad's medicine cabinet out here for the bottled water and the barley pop, along with that griddle. Griddle is standard on this model, not necessarily on every single Jayco, but when you get some kind of camp kitchen or convenience station, you're going to get that. The update to the tankless on-demand water heater, especially in a bunk model like this, I think is really, really cool. You obviously have the propane cooker hooker. It is dangerously close to being a propanus with the gas coming out the backside, but it does technically come off the side of the RV. Now, we are really in close quarters here. Apologies. Traveling now more with Bish's RV, I don't always get a chance to capture every RV on arrival like I used to, so bear with me here. Now, you might be looking at this little bracket going, what's that for? Well, we're going to see in just a second. One other nice detail I want to point out here is with your Jaycos, even your spare tire is a Goodyear. Really pay attention to that detail. A lot of manufacturers, when you get Goodyear tires, they actually will tend to put them on the ground, but not your spare tire. And I like that extra attention to detail Jayco's doing. Now, a couple other details before we hop up to the roof and then let you go here. You've got the quick drop stabilizers, which basically have an extra stabilizer bar built right in them. And on a single axle camper, that is incredibly useful. You may also notice how you don't have to worry about getting pink eye. Of course, I could get that jack out of the way. You don't got to worry about getting pink eye because your Stinky Slinky can store separate from all of your other stuff. Now, that bracket on the back of the RV is actually where you can store and transport this telescopic roof ladder that we're looking at right here. It mounts on the side, not the back of the RV, which is a little different. Now, giving you a look up top there, again, that is a fully walkable roof. You've got that cargo rack up top, or depending on what you want to strap to this thing, you know, you can put cargo pods or bikes or kayak racks or something like that. And notice the white shroud on the air conditioner. I have always liked that because I think it helps the air conditioner operate a little more efficiently and effectively. And obviously you got that 200-watt solar package up there. Now, you've got, you know, again, two choices of refrigerators. A lot of people generally consider 200 watts to be the point where you can typically offset a 12-volt fridge of this size on a decent weather weekend. Now, it's really going to depend on where you camp, how you camp, what else you're doing with the RV. A cool little pro tip for you. If you are running low on juice, you like need to close the slide up, plug the trailer back into your vehicle, and your vehicle's charge line through the 7-way plug can actually power all the 12-volt stuff on demand in the RV. So that's a neat little workaround if you ever need it. Yeah, no, I think I've talked enough. So thank you once again for watching, everybody. If you're new and you like what we're doing here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you've returned, leave me some comments and let me know, like, what do you think about the cargo bunk, the kitchen? Any insights and offerings you have, I'd be willing to listen. Now, this is a floor plan that has become very common, very popular. There's plenty of different builders who make something like this. And if you would prefer something on tandem axles with a north-south bed, check the links in the video description. I'm going to have all kinds of options there for you to check out. Not to mention, you can always check for pricing and availability, whether you're curious or whether you're serious. It's always just one click away when you're ready. And until then, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.